Greetings everyone, and thanks for tuning in for this paranormal pit stop. Tonight, we'll be exploring a prominent and iconic fortification located off of US Route 183 out of Goliad, Texas, that's actually recognized as the oldest standing defensive structure west of the Mississippi. Rumored to host a range of ghostly manifestations tied to its lengthy past, are you sure you're ready to brave the history and hauntings of Presidio La Bahia? Historically, in 1721, what is officially the Presidio Nuestra Señora de Loreto de la Bahía was founded under the Spanish Army. In 1749, both the Presidio and its mission were moved to their current locations off the San Antonio River, and by 1771, the entirety of the site had been reconstructed in stone, and began to earn renown as the only Spanish fortress on the Gulf Coast between the mouth of the Rio Grande and the Mississippi River. Through the late 18th century, the settlement of Goliad would spring up adjacent to the Presidio, and eventually the locale would be considered amongst the three most significant areas in Spanish Texas. Through the Mexican War of Independence, the Presidio would be captured twice under insurgent forces, for the first time in 1813 under the Republican Army of the North, and later in 1821 by the Long Expedition. However, in both instances, insurgents were defeated by Spanish troops, and by the end of 1821, Texas would be acquired as part of the newly formed United Mexican States. Through October of 1835, and just days following the start of the Texas Revolution, Texan insurgents would march on La Bahia, and following a 30-minute battle, would force the Mexican garrison to surrender, after which, under the Texans, the Presidio was re-established as Fort Defiance. Following the fall of the Alamo on March 6th of 1836, General Sam Houston would order Colonel James Fannin and his men to retreat, resulting in La Bahia's abandonment. Notably, Fannin's troops would be intersected by Mexican forces right as they were departing the fort, and following what was called the Battle of Coleto on March 19th of 1836, the garrison at La Bahia was taken prisoner and held within the Presidio. Disturbingly, just days later on March 27th, between 425 and 445 Texan Army prisoners were marched outside the Presidio walls, where they were executed by the Mexican Army in what is now referred to as the Goliad Massacre. Even more disturbing, following the merciless killing of all of his men, Fannin, who was saved for last, was set up in the courtyard and blindfolded, where he gave 3 requests, being that he be shot in the heart and not the face, that he be given a Christian burial, and that his watch be sent home to his family. After taking his requests, the soldiers overseeing him then proceeded to shoot the colonel in the face, steal his watch, and then, when they realized Fannin had survived the round, savagely beat him to death before burning his body. Following the Texas Revolution, a number of the Presidio's buildings would fall into disrepair, with the exception of the chapel, which would remain in use, and at one point would even accommodate a private residence. Subsequently, under an 1841 Act of the Republic of Texas, this weathered place of worship was actually restored. More recently, through the 1960s, local philanthropist Catherine O'Connor would donate $1 million to restoration of the expanse. From 1963 to 1968, this project would transpire under the heading of architect Rayford Stripling, and when all was said and done, a majority bulk of the aged structure had pretty much been fully reconstructed from the ground up. In the present, Presidio La Bahia remains open to the public, offering its museum, the Our Lady of Loreto Chapel, accommodations in its quarters, living history events, and much, much more. Not surprisingly, the whole of Presidio grounds are rumored to be haunted by the many spirits of those slaughtered across both their breadth and nearby, and those frequenting the expanse have reported a range of chilling and otherworldly happenings, including phantom voices and screams of the men who were executed, the constant feelings of being watched, of being followed, or even of being brushed up against by presences unseen, and inside the museum, eerie footsteps detected by staff long after close. A number of soldiers were killed within the courtyard quadrangle, where, incidentally, a range of visitors have described a constant unnerving feeling, visions of blood splattered across the walls, and the smells of rotting flesh without source, while the ghost of poor Colonel Fannin has also been observed both roaming the courtyard and also blindfolded in his chair, or wandering about the officers' quarters, and has been known to bring with him eerie chills, phantom footsteps, and the distinct sounds of cannons firing in the distance. Several investigations of the Presidio have yielded high EMF levels, chilling EVPs, and hits on thermal equipment, while others have told of doors that open and close on their own, of black shadowy masses that float ominously about, and of apparitions of both soldiers and civilians in clothing or uniforms spanning back centuries. Possibly Presidio La Bahia's most active site, the Our Lady of Loreto Chapel, still functions to this day, and carries with it a great deal of renown for its various supernatural phenomena. Within, both churchgoers and visitors have reported the disembodied sounds of babies crying, the organ playing on its own, instances of the bells chiming inexplicably, a phantom female voice heard from somewhere out of sight, and encounters with both a robed monk that patrols chapel grounds, and also with the ghost of a woman in black, who has been viewed mourning and also manifests holding a candle. Thanks for joining us on this paranormal pit stop. If you enjoyed hearing our histories and ghost stories, subscribe to our channel, like this upload, and share us with anyone you feel could use a good scare. We'll catch you all next time.